Konbanwa minasan. Arigatou gozaimasu. You are tuned in to another episode of live Clow card reading, and after tonight, there will actually be only 2 more episodes left before we end the season, and then we're gonna give it some time. I don't think we'll come back for a third season right away. We might come back for a third season if we get more requests for readings in the future, and fortune told. But other than tonight's episode, there will be 2 more before we take a break. So if you want your fortune told, these next 2 episodes coming up would definitely be the best way to do that. Now, obviously, if we get a lot of requests by the end of the final episode, then it might compel me to make a third season just so that everybody does get their fortunes told if they request them. So tonight we will do the usual readings for myself. We will read a bit of Neville Goddard, Your Faith is Your Fortune, a very wonderful chapter. I wanted to discuss the whole thing. And we will also celebrate the fact that tonight is actually Hitomi Shimatani's 23rd anniversary as an artist. And she is just wonderful. She could sing the phone book and it would sound beautiful. She's just such an amazing artist. And I'm really happy and excited that I'll not only get the pre-ordered Mystic World CD for the single any day now, I will also get an autographed copy of a vinyl single of her song, The Maiden with the Waxen Hair, to translate to English. And I will also receive a calendar and a t-shirt as part of special perks for being a VIP fan, and it's pretty wonderful. So I'm very happy and excited about that. And of course, congratulations, Hitomi-chan. Aishiteru itsumo omedetou. Yay! Subarashi desu. So we will get into our reading now. And we will start with the general future. O great Clow cards of Kurorido, using the power of the sun, the moon, and the stars, reveal to me what message you have to enlighten me with wisdom and power for the general future to come, as far as divine guidance, using the cards as intuitive tools to lead me. Release. Very interesting for the first 5. Okay, so the first cards we got were the Erase card, the Nothing card, the Silent card, the Bubbles, and the Illusion. So if I was really to sit here and decode the combination, because this is actually a very strange combination, at least to the audience, I imagine they would probably be thinking that a lot of these cards are negative. However, what I'm detecting is because there's actually a combination of such cards, it actually is signifying a lot of importance in the individualism of each card. Now, Erase means letting go, kind of forgetting things, basically wiping the slate clean. The fact that there is the Nothing card means that it could be talking about in the immediate future. It might seem that things are very still, that nothing is happening. The Silent card could mean I'm not really communicating with a lot of people, which is accurate. The Bubbles indicates, however, though, that new things shall start popping up, though they may be unseen. They may seem like nothing. They might be silent. I might need to let go of past ideas. However, opportunities are bubbling up. Hence why I believe the Illusion card also showed up. That anything that seems like nothing or silence or stillness is actually an illusion of what's hiding behind the scenes. So that's actually a very interesting fortune. I would like a bit more clarity. So, great Clow cards of Kurorido, reveal to me what is the next bit of guidance regarding the general future to reveal more of a conclusive, concrete answer with the other 5 cards, using the power of the stars, the sun, and the moon. Release. The shadow, the shot, oh, the love card, the wave, and the flower. Ooh, okay. You know what? As a continuation of the other 5 cards, the shadow comes. It reminds me of what Goddard said, that we are living in a world of shadows. That's what comes to mind. I pick up on the energy that there are things going on unseen. And while in order to have a shadow, there has to be light, meaning there's sort of like a light at the tunnel of all the struggles that I've been going through lately. The shot indicates that there is actually going to be an opportunity, a shot I will have to take at the right moment. And that it also symbolizes accuracy. It means that something will be timed at the right moment as well. The fact that the love card pops up is very good, because that's like, that'll lead more closer to the idea of love. By focusing love and keeping love in my heart, it will give me more evidence of the love my heart seeks. The wave indicates going with the flow, sort of like not trying to swim against the current, because if you fight against the current, you'll drown, but just kind of going with the flow, letting things ride the waves. Yeah, you go up, yeah, you go down, but you just have to kind of go with it and just let things be in their own natural course. The flower indicates like manifestation, time of reaping a harvest. So very good things is what I pick up on the energy are actually coming. It's just now is the time I have to ride the waves and kind of relax, be still, and let things unfold. So yeah, to show the audience the shadow card, shot, the love card, the wave, and the flower. So that's the general future, very promising. Now we will actually do romance. So based on the idea of the romance in my general future, all great Clow cards of Kurorido, reveal to me what message you have in more specific detail, if possible, regarding what is the answer concerning my love life, my special person, the person I love and hold in my heart most dear. What is the message that you wish for me to find? Oh, great Clow cards of Kurorido, using the power of the sun, the stars, and the moon. Release. Ooh. Wow, well, I'll put it this way. This is actually a very harmonized sort of 5 cards to draw. The hope is a very good card to draw. That means that there is actually hope that something very good regarding the romantic situation will happen soon. She's holding a heart in the picture of the hope card, so there is the embodiment of love. To have hope and faith, it all kind of aligns to the same sort of frequency as love. So that's very good to get the hope card. So even if things seem dark, there doesn't seem to be much movement, it seems confusing, I wonder what to do, it's saying hold on to the hope. That's very good. The next card is the wood card. So the hope, just so the audience can see it again, the wood, the light, the freeze, and the windy card. So what the wood is saying is be strong during sort of these like darker times, these tougher times, hence the windy. There's wind. It's almost like there is a lot of tension in certain regards. It feels like things are frozen and still, hence the freeze card. But the wood is saying to kind of root myself in to hope and stand strong, and to focus on just building the energy around my own inner light. And that will actually lead closer to the fulfillment of my romantic situation, and that will guide me to the love my heart seeks. So that's very good. Very promising as far as that. And now we will get into the career part of the reading. So, oh great Kuro card of Kuro Rido, please reveal to me what message the universe is intending to guide me with regarding the nature of my music career, using the power of the sun, the moon, and the stars. Release. The time, storm, the dream, the fly, and the mist. All right, this is a very interesting set as far as career. We have the time first, the storm, the dream, the fly, and the mist. Now, what this means is the time is saying that everything will happen at the right time. It's also saying that the time is approaching. The storm is indicating that although this does seem to be sort of like a rough patch regarding the nature of my career, it's saying that there will be the fulfillment of the dream regarding the career. It's also saying keep an eye for visions and dreams because I will receive more clarity. The fly indicates travel, movement, rising to new elevations. So that's very good, especially with that being one of my goals. And then the mist says that it's kind of like a confusing time, but the mist also has the power to dissolve things that are solid. So it's also saying that the obstacles and the blocks in my way could very well be dissolved without any effort at all, just by focusing on the wish fulfilled. That what I perceive to be obstacles or blocks might actually be taken care of in their own natural way. So that's very promising as far as a career reading. Now, if anybody else would like a reading when we get closer to the conclusion of tonight's broadcast, please feel free to comment gender, zodiac sign, and if you'd like a general future, career, or romantic reading. Anyways, before we get into the discussion part, I decided I was going to read this chapter of Neville Goddard's Your Faith is Your Fortune for tonight, because this is a chapter that has really resonated with me lately, and I will discuss why. In fact, I was thinking about this chapter today because there's certain things that bother me in the law of attraction and the law of assumption and manifesting communities that kind of have been like grinding my gears and getting under my skin lately, especially with what Goddard says. I don't really agree with a lot of people using that for their own personal gain. And I will clarify more in detail after I finish the chapter, but you'll see what I mean. Like, in my opinion, just to summarize quickly, it would make more sense to me to pass the knowledge on to other people, basically by putting good energy out there, giving them the wisdom. They can choose to accept it. It's their choice. Don't force it on them, but present them with the knowledge. If they choose to make good use of it and better their lives, well, then you're putting out good energy, and that makes sense. But I don't agree with charging people crazy amounts of money in order to do so. That to me seems like that would put you into more of a negative frequency. That's more of the emotional state of greed. And if you look at it, Goddard actually talked about this in another one of his books. He said that after the world goes through a war, or a catastrophe, that humanity tends to fall into a negative vibration afterwards as a result. It starts to be impacted by ideas of greed and violence and things of that nature. You look at it as we just overcame the COVID pandemic. There's the war over in Ukraine with Russia right now. So it's like humanity is slipping into a negative vibration. And then you have all these coaches, oh, we can help you fulfill your dreams if you give us $6,000, $3,000, all this. So they're profiting off people's desperation. When actually, after I read this chapter, you understand that you don't need to. It'd be like paying a cab to take you across the street. Let's say, okay, I'm in this house, right? There's a house obviously across the street. Wouldn't it be kind of silly if I paid a cab and wasted the money, really? Like, take me across the street. I could just walk across the street. I have 2 functional legs, and even if I was in a wheelchair, it's not really that far of a distance. I'm capable of doing it on my own, even if I was using crutches. Is it really worth paying somebody that crazy amount of money? Like, it's just unnecessary to spend the money when you're capable of doing it by yourself. That's my food for thought, and when I read this chapter, I'm sure people will understand a lot better where I'm coming from. Now, in chapter 4 of Your Faith is Your Fortune, whom seek ye? I have told you that I am. If therefore ye seek me, let these go their way. As soon then as he had said unto them, I am, they went backward and fell to the ground. Today there is so much said about masters, elder brothers, adepts, and initiates, that numberless truth seekers are being constantly misled by seeking these false lights. For a price, most of these pseudo teachers offer their students initiation into the mysteries, promising them guidance and direction. Man's weakness for leaders, as well as his worship of idols, makes him an easy prey of these schools and teachers. Good will come to most of these enrolled students. They will discover after years of awaiting and sacrificing that they were following a mirage. They will then become disillusioned in their schools and teachers, and this disappointment will be worth the effort and price they have paid for their fruitless search. They will then turn from their worship of man, and in so doing discover that which they are seeking is not to be found in another, for the kingdom of heaven is within. This realization will be their first real initiation. The lesson learned will be this: there is only one master, and this master is God, the I am within themselves. I am the Lord thy God, who led thee out of the land of darkness, out of the house of bondage. I am. Your awareness is Lord and Master, and besides your awareness, there is neither Lord nor Master. You are master of all that you will ever be aware of being. You know that you are, do you not? Knowing that you are is the Lord and Master of that which you know that you are. You are completely isolated by man from that which you are conscious of being. Yet, you would, in spite of all human barriers, effortlessly draw to yourself all that you are conscious of being. The man who is conscious of being poor does not need the assistance of anyone to express his poverty. The man who is conscious of being sick, though isolated in the most hermetically sealed germ-proof area in the world, would express sickness. There is no barrier to God, for God is your awareness of being. Regardless of what you are aware of being, you can and do express it without effort. Stop looking for the Master to come. He is with you always. I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. You will from time to time know yourself to be many things, but you do not need to be anything to know that you are. You can, if you so desire, disentangle yourself from the body you wear. In doing so, you realize that you are a faceless, formless awareness, and not dependent on the form you are in your expression. You will know that you are. You will also discover that this knowing that you are is God, the Father, which preceded all that you ever knew yourself to be. Before the world was, you were aware of being, and so you were saying, I am, and I am will be. After all that you know yourself to be shall cease to be. There are no ascended masters. Banish this superstition. You will forever rise from one level of consciousness, master, to another in so doing. You manifest the ascended level, expressing this newly acquired consciousness. Consciousness, being Lord and Master, you are the master magician, conjuring that which you are now conscious of being. For God consciousness calleth those things which have not been, which be not as though they were. Things that are now seen will be seen the moment you become conscious of being. Things that are not now seen will be seen the moment you become conscious of being that which is not now seen. This rising from one level of consciousness to another is the only ascension that you will ever experience. No one can lift you to the level you desire. The power to ascend is within yourself. It is consciousness. You appropriate the consciousness of the level you desire to express by claiming that you are now expressing such a level. This is the ascension. It is limitless, for you will never exhaust your capacity to ascend. Turn from the human superstition of ascension with its belief in masters and find the only and everlasting master within yourself. Far greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Believe this. Do not continue in blindness, following after the mirage of masters. I assure you, your search can only end in disappointment. If you deny me, your awareness of being, I shall deny you also. Thou shalt have no other God besides me. Be still and know that I am God. Come, prove me, and see if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Do you believe that the I am is able to do this? Then claim me to be that which you want to see poured out. Claim yourself to be that which you want to be, and that you shall be. Not because of masters will I give it unto you, but because you have recognized me, yourself, to be that, I will give it unto you, for I am all things to all. Jesus would not permit himself to be called good master. He knew that there is but one good and one master. He knew this one to be his Father in heaven, the awareness of being. The kingdom of God, good, and the kingdom of heaven are within you. Your belief in masters is a confession of your slavery. Only slaves have masters. Change your conception of yourself, and you will, without the aid of masters or anyone else, automatically transform your world to conform to your changed conception of yourself. You are told in the book of Numbers that there was a time when men were in their own eyes as grasshoppers, and because of this conception of themselves, they saw giants in the land. This is as true of man today as it was the day it was recorded. Man's conception of himself is so grasshopper-like that he automatically makes the conditions round about him appear gigantic. In his blindness, he cries out for masters to help him fight his giant problems. Jesus tried to show man that salvation was within himself and warned him not to look for his Savior in places or people. If anyone should come saying, "Look here," or "Look there," believe him not, for the kingdom of heaven is within you. Jesus not only refused to permit himself to be called good master, he warned his followers, salute no man along the highway. He made it clear that they should not recognize any authority or superior other than God the Father. Jesus established this identity of the Father as man's awareness of being. I and my Father are one, but my Father is greater than I. I am one with all that I am conscious of being. I am greater than that which I am aware of being. The Creator is ever greater than his creation. As Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up. The serpent symbolizes man's present conception of himself as a worm of the dust, living in the wilderness of human confusion. Just as Moses lifted himself from his worm of the dust conception of himself to discover God to be his awareness of being, I am hath sent you, so must you be lifted up. The day you claim, as did Moses, I am that I am, that day your claim will blossom in the wilderness. Your awareness is the master magician who conjures all things by being that which you would conjure. This Lord and Master that you are can and does make all that you are conscious of being appear in your world. No man, manifestation, brackets, cometh unto me, save my Father draw him, and I, my Father, are one. You are constantly drawing to yourself that which you are conscious of being. Change your conception of yourself from that of the slave to that of Christ. Don't be embarrassed to make this your claim. Only as you claim, I am Christ, will you do the works of Christ. The works I do, ye shall do also, and greater works than these shall ye do, for I go unto my Father. He made himself equal with God, and found it not robbery to do the works of God. Jesus knew that anyone who dared to claim himself to be Christ would automatically assume the capacities to express the works of his conception of Christ. Jesus also knew that the exclusive use of this principle of expression was not given to him alone. He constantly referred to his Father in heaven. He stated that his works would not only be equal, but that they would be surpassed by that man who dared to conceive himself to be greater than he, Jesus, had conceived himself to be. Jesus, in stating that he and his Father were one, but that his Father was greater than he, revealed his awareness, Father, to be one with that which he was aware of being. He found himself as Father or awareness to be greater than that which he, as Jesus, was aware of being. You and your conception of yourself are one. You are always and will be greater than any conception you will ever have of yourself. Man fails to do the works of Jesus Christ because he attempts to accomplish them from the present level of consciousness. He will never transcend his present accomplishments through sacrifice and struggle. Your present level of consciousness will only be transcended as you drop the present state and rise to a higher level. You rise to a higher level of consciousness by taking your attention away from your present limitations and placing it upon that which you desire to be. Do not attempt this in daydreaming or wishful thinking, but in a positive manner. Claim yourself to be the thing desired. I am that. No sacrifice, no diet, no human tricks. All that is asked of you is to accept your desire. If you dare claim it, you will express it. Meditate on these. I rejoice not in the sacrifices of men, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit. Ask, and ye shall receive. Come eat and drink without price. The works are finished. All that is required of you is to let these qualities into expression of the claim. I am that. Claim yourself to be that which you desire to be, and that you shall be. Expressions follow the impressions. They do not precede them. Proof that you are will follow the claim that you are. It will not precede it. Leave all and follow me is a double invitation to you. First, it invites you to turn completely away from all problems, and then it calls upon you to continue walking in the claim that you are that which you desire to be. Do not be Lot's wife, who looks back and becomes salted, Genesis 19, or preserved in the dead past. Be a Lot who does not look back, but who keeps his vision focused upon the promised land, the thing desired. Do this, and you will know that you have found the master magician, making the unseen the seen through the command, I am that. And that concludes our chapter for this evening. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks, Abs Up in Here. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I definitely recommend this for anybody. It's Neville Goddard's The Complete Reader. That chapter I read today is taken from the final book in the collection called Your Faith is Your Fortune. All of his books are pretty informative and they're good. And the reason I shared this too was if anybody was to see the previous discussion in the episode before I started reading, that's why I shared that chapter, because you see a lot of these law of attraction and law of assumption and manifesting coaches and teachers, they charge these crazy prices of like $6,000, $3,000. But hence, that's why Goddard said near the end of that chapter, buy without price. Because if you realize that the power lies within you, then you don't need to look to external people and pay them these crazy, ridiculous amounts of money to accomplish your desires. If you really believe you're that, then reality has no choice but to shuffle itself in organization to what you assume your conception of yourself to be. Now, one thing I will state, which I believe is a given, but just for clarity's sake, is that if you're assuming yourself to be something that you don't believe is actually possible for yourself, something you wouldn't even be able to imagine, then automatically you're going to put yourself in sort of a difficult state, because you actually have to believe that it's possible for you to do that. Now, how do you do that? Well, if you can actually believe that you have the same capacities as Jesus, then all things are possible. I mention this because in the last episode, there was a guy heckling me about, oh, well, you have to think realistically. Like, what if I wanted to be a dragon, right? And I'm like, well, to be fair, you don't believe you could grow scales, wings, and breathe fire like a dragon. So obviously you couldn't physically shift into a dragon. Now, if he believed that, maybe if he believed it strongly enough, who knows? If all things are possible to God and all things are possible to he who believes, think about it. There's all these supernatural stories about aliens and ghosts. Who knows? You really could if you believed it strongly enough. I'm not even doubting that. There's stories of like very powerful spiritualists in the Middle East and even in Asia that have actually figured out the ability to levitate off the ground by harnessing like the idea of like telepathic powers. And it's possible if the mind actually believes it. Now, if the mind doesn't believe it, well, you're creating a barrier that you're going to have to fight and break through. Now, how do you do that? You go back to the root of it all. We are all gone. God dwells within all of us, because before we ever existed, everything that our life was destined to be or could be was shown before us. Now, as we go through this world, it is up to us to make conscious choices. But like I said, and you said, absolutely, there's no need to pay anyone for that 100%. Because if you actually realize that this is how I'll explain it to you, and I'm sure you'll understand this, Abs Up in Here, and to anybody else who watches it, this is just my thought, and I think this will make a lot of logical sense. Now, if you're paying somebody that kind of money, $3,000, $6,000, whatever, obviously you're believing automatically, it seems like a given, otherwise you wouldn't spend that crazy amount of money, right? You're believing that by giving them that $6,000 or $3,000 that you're going to get your desire. You believe that, oh, well, it must cost that much because I'm actually going to get my desire. So unconsciously, like subconsciously, you're believing that it's necessary. You're basically creating a barrier. It's like you could leave the gate open and walk through, or you could close the gate and try to climb over it. By giving those people that money, you're basically closing the gate and choosing to climb over it. But here's the thing. If you believe you have to pay them in order to accomplish your desire, for your goal to be fulfilled, whatever, then you're creating that artificial barrier for yourself. If you believe, no, I don't need to do it, I already have it. If everybody has the same talent, intelligence, and capabilities, if they tap into themselves, then I don't need to do it. Which is why Goddard advises people, avoid these people who try to charge you money, because it's not them that are accomplishing your goal. Even if you give them that money, you believe that that's what's going to accomplish your goal or your desire, right? So that's where you're putting your faith to accomplishing it. If you believe that, then that's how it will happen. But you don't need to. That is the whole point. And I'm sure you can agree with that too. That's just my food for thought in today's discussion. Anyways, that will conclude our broadcast. I hope everybody enjoyed it. And once again, omedetou, Hitomi-chan. Happy 23rd anniversary as a recording artist. Aishiteru itsumo. Arigatou gozaimasu, minasan. Mata ne. Oyasumi nasai.